Black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5, pull up your pants. Some people, a lot of them black, gave me flack for saying that recently on the Wendy Williams show. I hosted a special on the N-word, suggesting that black people stop using it, and that entertainers stop deluding yourselves or themselves and others that you're somehow taking the word back. Now, number 3, respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids they're acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. And number 1, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should.
So stop littering, show respect, go to school, because the rules apply to everybody no matter what they look like.
Black people, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5, pull up your pants. Some people, a lot of them black, gave me flack for saying that recently on the Wendy.
I don't like the sagging pants, but I'm not going to charge that specifically with black people because I know of other races and cultures who do this too. I don't like it on anyone, but Don Lemon is full of shit. What is pulling up the pants going to do? Because in recent police shootings, in recent racially charged issues, I didn't see anybody with sagging pants at all. The last person who was shot by the police was not sagging their pants. And you sagging your pants does not automatically mean that you're into any type of gang culture, because it was so heavily influenced in Hollywood and the rap scene. Somebody could be just imitating rappers. During the civil rights fight, that everybody was dressed in skirts, dresses, suits, and they were getting water hosed, dogs sicked on them, and beat. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, for what I know historically, that sagging pants, even though I don't like it, it is not going to better black people's lives if everyone got a belt and had fitted pants. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And people love to do this type of thing so they don't have to talk about the real issues. They will never highlight and show the person who is waking up at 5 in the morning to catch the bus so they can go to work and they can barely make ends meet. And they do this day in and day out, 5 to 7 days a week. Some of them don't get a day off just to make rent and barely having any sleep and barely have enough to eat. But let's hear what Don Lemon's advice is, as if he's not a white man in blackface.
I hosted a special on the N-word, suggesting that black people stop using.
Black people need to stop using the N-word. And he's referencing rappers and entertainment. If you don't want that in entertainment, Don Lemon, I would suggest you go to the white music producers, executives, and the people who are over the industry and tell them that it's detrimental to the community, and could they please have the rappers use their skills to be more positive. If you think that they're going to give somebody a record deal without regurgitating the stuff that's been regurgitated for the past 50 years, you're insane. And first of all, how are you going to tell somebody who has been oppressed by the N-hard-E-R word and tell them what they can and cannot do with it?
And that entertainers stop deluding yourselves or themselves and others that you're somehow taking the word back. Now, number 3. Respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. Number 2.
Before he gets to number 2, he said respect where you live. So respect the fact that you don't have any ownership in anything. You don't own a home. You're renting. You don't own a business, you can't get a loan, you can't get anything to start that business up. Now, what they'll do, they'll use these inspiring stories, which I love to hear them too, of somebody taking $200 and creating $1 million business. That's great. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And also, you have to look at if certain business will stand the test of time. But we all know that certain people who were non-black were given loans to start business in black neighborhoods. We know this. And those black people could not go and get those same loans because you do need resources and money to start a business. Nobody is addressing the illegal dumping issue like what happened in Baltimore, where all of these conservative, colorless people came out to clean up the neighborhood and they tried to pretend like it was the residents. But when you looked at the video from the aldermen, it was the people who were coming from affluent, meaning wealthier neighborhoods, dumping their shit there. So basically, they came to just pick up their own trash. When there's waste control issues, especially in black neighborhoods, there are some people who litter, and it does get on my nerves, but we're not going to sit up here and act like that's just an issue in the black community. You can stigmatize black people. You just put black in front of anything negative. Yeah, it's true. That's true. They do that. Fucking idiot.
Finish school. You want to break the cycle of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English.
I've never heard anybody say that you're acting white because you go to school. That's a lie. And then it's not that they're speaking proper English, as if there's any such thing, because this is not American English, is not proper English. You would have thought he would have known that since he's so smart. It's a dialect. You can tell when you're on the phone talking to a Caucasian person 90% of the time, and when you're talking to a black person 90% of the time. Anybody who tries to deny that, you're just being obtuse. And finishing school, you won't be in poverty. So what is this with the student loan debt though? Cause my black ass went to school and I obtained a degree, and the degree didn't do shit for me. My experience and a connection actually helped me get into a certain position. It is so disgusting that he is married to a colorless person and he has taken on their ideologies, or he was saying this to save CNN. I really don't know which one, but I know he was pandering to the colorless demographic who like to hear this BS, because every single day black people live rent-free in their mind. They bring us up when we shouldn't even be a part of the conversation. I believe that Don Lemon is mad because somebody said that to him. So that's why he's butthurt.
And number one, and probably the most important, just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should.
And he's just mad because he cannot have a baby with his husband. Now, this is a issue, and this is a talking point now, because nobody was getting on the Duggar family. Nobody was really down hard. Even the lady who had the 8 children, they weren't all up in her ass the way they do black women with having children. And like I said, it's just jealousy. Even though the birth rates are down across the demographics, they're just jealous because their wombs are struggling. Their sperm and wombs are struggling, and that's why they have fertility clinics all up and through their neighborhood. I partially agree with vetting who you have a baby with. Don't just have a baby to have a baby because you think that this is what you're supposed to do in life. If this is not a good partner who cannot provide what you need, do not have a baby. That's a good thing. Thin the herd. Quality over quantity. But in this instance, the audience he's talking to, they're sad about their struggling fertility rates. They're horrible. So this makes them feel better. He also said this.
But confirmation came the very next day on my way home when I exited the subway on 125th Street in Harlem. This little kid in a school uniform, no older than 7 years old, he was crying his eyes out as he walked down the sidewalk with his mother. I'm going to be honest here. She turned to him and she said, "I'm sick of you. You act like an old ass man. Stop all that crying, nigger."
Now, who believes that I have never, and when I say I have never, I have heard every variation of the N word, but I have never ever heard someone say it hard ER. I don't know why he's sitting up here lying like this. I don't know if his job was depending on this or what. He said he was getting off from work in his neighborhood, which I don't believe. He lives around a lot of black people. Bullshit. And he heard her call him the N. Yeah, I'll call BS on his BS. Then underneath the video, because I will look at some of the comments, I ended up seeing this comment, which even though that's an old video, it was posted a little under a year ago. This bitch has the nerve to sit up here and say these things, but she should be embarrassed. She is saying that we need to practice decency, including good hygiene. This coming from a demographic who did not wash their ass for a year. That Native Americans followed them around with incense because they smell so bad. They did not wash their clothes. They did not wash their ass. They had lice everywhere. They damn near wiped themselves out with the Black Plague, but want to talk about hygiene? And then let's fast forward to 2023, where they're proudly sitting up here saying they only take showers every 6 days or once a week or twice a week. They don't use washcloths. They use a bar of soap in their hands to wash up in their ass and their vajayjay and everywhere else in underarm pits. And then when they get out of the rain, which now explains the dogs saying stop using the N-word to degrade others. We don't use the N-word to say that to other people. We will say that to each other. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like this bitch gives a damn about a black person saying the N-word. The only reason that they give a damn is because they can't. And they know if they walk up and try and join in the conversation, they will get knocked the fuck out. Pride in where you live. Proud of what? I have no pride in America, period. So why the fuck would I care about a neighborhood where there's no ownership? Everybody from foreigners and colorless people own the apartment buildings, homes, businesses, and everything. And I'm supposed to be happy and proud of it. Fuck her. And then she says, finish school to end poverty. So she's taken some of his talking points with her slow ass. Going to school is not going to guarantee you not be in poverty. Okay, especially when you don't control the business, you don't control the pay rate and everything else. And everybody right now is screaming and yelling, even those in the middle class who feel like, you know, the wages are not keeping up with inflation. The wages are not keeping up even before inflation with the high cost. But this is what happens when you talk to idiots, and that's the audience that you're trying to reach. You're trying to reach dumbass people who have no critical thinking skills. They cannot hold an intelligent conversation about the society in which they live. But this dumb bee is so fucking caught up in her cognitive dissonance. She doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about the kids. She doesn't care about the ones coming behind her who has to deal with this. She doesn't care about anyone else. She just wants to wallow in her privilege and say, yes, I'm better than these people. Because if you would get off that, you would recognize the shit show of what your people have done and your ancestors have left you. It's burning to the fucking ground, and I'm enjoying it. And then the first thing, stop making children without getting married or planning. And you mofos are getting married and planning the children and still ending up divorced, still ending up getting your ass kicked in these relationships. You still have animosity in your household. You have your children doing drugs and dying from drugs. You have your husband out here cheating on you, and you think nobody knows and everybody in your circle knows, and you think you're hiding it. You're doing drugs. You're sneaking in your kids' room getting the drugs. Community burning. Kids afraid to go to school. You're gonna have to buy them bulletproof vests now because somebody will go get mad on a Tuesday and go shoot up a school. But you have the nerve, the audacity to be talking about Black people and what we're doing in our neighborhoods. How about you focus on making your kids feel more safe in school and in the community, because that's a community problem. But yeah, I just wanted to show that, but I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with Don Lemon? Do you not? Do you think they should be focused on other demographics? And they want to sit here and pretend like they're so fucking perfect and nobody knows what goes on behind closed doors with them, when I sit there and cross my legs and watch the fuckery go down. But yeah, I'll leave it right here. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.